Okay, today we're not just talking about cybersecurity in the abstract. We are building a survival guide. Because let's be honest, when a digital disaster strikes, having a plan isn't just a good idea, it is absolutely everything. Let's kick things off with a scenario that shows you just how high the stakes really are. Just picture this for a second. It's 3 in the morning. An entire hospital's network just goes dark. It's ransomware. Every single system is locked down tight. Now, this isn't some plot from a movie. This is a nightmare that's happening for real, right now. All of a sudden, doctors are flying completely blind. They can't get to patient histories, allergies, any of the vital records they need. And in that kind of chaos, panic is your worst enemy. The only thing that can cut through it is a plan that's been written down and rehearsed. This is the exact moment the crisis playbook gets opened. So what does this playbook even look like? Well, it's not just one document. Think of it as a master strategy, a contingency plan that's built on 3 really critical layers of defense. At its heart, contingency planning is really the art of being ready for the unexpected. It's that high-level strategy that makes sure an organization doesn't just, survive a disaster, but can actually get back on its feet and keep going. Now, what's so cool about this is how these 3 plans all work together. Let me give you an analogy. Think of it like a big medical emergency. The incident response team, they're the paramedics. Their job is to get to the scene, stop the bleeding, and stabilize things fast. Then you have disaster recovery. They're the surgeons in the operating room, laser-focused on rebuilding the critical IT systems that got wrecked. And business continuity, well, they're like the city planners, making sure the rest of the city, HR, the supply chain, all of it can keep running while that surgery is going on. So let's zero in on those first responders, the paramedics. When that alarm finally goes off, what exactly do they do? This is the anatomy of an incident. This loop you see here, this is the heart of their playbook. It's called the Incident Response Lifecycle, and it's a continuous process for handling a crisis from the very first alert all the way to the final lessons learned. See, it's not just about fixing the problem, it's about getting smarter for the next time. The whole cycle has 4 distinct phases. You start with preparation, then you move into detection and analysis, then you're in the active fight, containment and recovery, and finally, you wrap it all up with a post-incident review. Let's just quickly touch on each one. Here's the crucial thing to understand. The battle is often won before it even starts. The preparation phase is all about getting your defenses lined up. You're training your teams, setting up teals, and running drills like tabletop exercises so that when a real crisis hits, it's not the first time your people have seen something like this. Then, bam, the alarm bells start ringing. This is detection and analysis, and it is a frantic race against the clock to figure out what is happening. Is this a real threat? Is it a false alarm? How bad is it really? Who's affected? The investigators are on, and the clock is ticking. And in these situations, speed is absolutely everything. Teams measure how well they're doing with 2 key metrics: mean time to detect, that's how fast you spot the problem, and mean time to respond, how fast you act. In a cyber attack, every single minute you save can mean millions of dollars, or in that hospital scenario we talked about, it could literally save lives. The goal is always to get these numbers as low as you possibly can. Okay, this is the firefight. First, you contain the threat, you isolate the infected systems to stop the bleeding. Then, you eradicate it, which means making sure every last trace of the attacker is gone. Finally, you start that very careful process of recovery, bringing systems back online in a safe and controlled way. So once everything is back up and running, it's so easy to just breathe a huge sigh of relief and move on. But that would be a massive mistake. The post-incident phase is arguably the most important one because it's where you learn. You have to ask the hard questions. What went wrong? And how do we make damn sure it never happens again? And this right here is one of the best tools for that job, the 5 whys. It's so simple but so powerful. You don't just stop at the surface level problem. You just keep asking why. But why? Okay, but why? Until you dig all the way down to the actual root cause. It's the difference between just patching a hole and fixing the broken process that let the hole get there in the first place. But look, the incident itself is really just the beginning of the story. After that immediate firefight is over, the focus has to shift. It's not about stopping the attack anymore. Now, it's all about rebuilding what you lost and making sure the business itself can survive. And this is where disaster recovery, or DR, comes in. We're not fighting the bad guys anymore. This is a massive technical project focused on one thing: restoring your critical IT services and data from the ground up. A huge piece of that DR plan is figuring out where you're going to rebuild. And you've got options, but they all come with trade-offs. A hot site is like a perfect mirror of your data center, ready to go in minutes, but it costs a fortune. A cold site, on the other hand, is just an empty room with power and cooling. It's cheap, but it could take you weeks to get it up and running. The right choice really just depends on how much downtime your business can actually handle.
And of course, you can't recover data you don't have. Backups are the absolute bedrock of any good DR plan. And it's not enough to just have backups. You have to test them constantly. Because let's be real, an untested backup isn't a plan. It's just a prayer.
And that brings us to the biggest picture of all, business continuity planning. If disaster recovery is about rebuilding the servers, business continuity is about making sure the business can still cut paychecks, talk to its customers, and manage its suppliers while the servers are being rebuilt. It is the master plan for survival, making sure that even a catastrophic IT failure doesn't become an extinction-level event for the entire company. Okay, so this all sounds pretty comprehensive, right? We've got plans for the paramedics, the surgeons, the city planners, which naturally leads to a pretty important question. With all these plans in place, are we ever really, truly ready? Can we build a fortress so strong that nothing can possibly get in? Well, the honest answer is no. And you know what? That's not even the point. A plan that just sits on a shelf is nothing more than paper. It only becomes real when you test it, when you put it through its paces. You build that institutional muscle memory through drills, everything from simple read-throughs to these intense, full interruption tests, where you literally pull the plug on your main systems just to see if your backup plan actually works under pressure. And that really brings us to the most important takeaway from all of this. The goal isn't to build some perfect, unbreakable wall. Attackers are clever. They will always be looking for a way in. The true goal is resilience. Because in the end, the plan isn't about never getting knocked down. It's about knowing exactly how you're going to get back up and get back up stronger than before.